I've got a number of recordings, even our last call. I realized our last call, I didn't get this back up for you guys. So, and here's Michael going, I don't have the link. So give me a moment. I got to get that out there for him. In the meantime, you guys, we're going to work off mute, unless if you got a baby in your arms who's going to talk more than I can. But let's work with ourselves off mute. And I want to have a lot of what we'll call interaction today. And let's see. Hey, Shelley.
What's up?
I know you're not, could you do me a favor?
Sure.
And send the link. Oh, great. Now I got to do something different. How do I do this? What did he send me that on? Is it through this?
You want me just to reply all? Is he on your original email? I'll just reply all to it to send it back out.
I don't think so, because I didn't send it directly to, so the link would have come through the managers. I'm looking where his message just popped up on me and I can't find where it came through at. Did he do it in the chat, you guys? Michael?
No.
It's not in the chat. How did he send it to me and how did I see it on my computer?
I don't know.
You don't
Who
know?
is it?
Okay.
Who is it?
Michael Scamby out of Troy. Because I'm not figuring out how he sent that to me unless.
I can text it to Luigi if Luigi's in the office. I don't know if he's in the office.
Hold on a second. I can get him this way. Well, somebody, while we're doing this, share with me. I need help with, and what would that help be? But before, matter of fact, before we even start that, let's start with what's the good news for the week? What do you got that's happened that was a real positive for you this week?
I can go ahead and start.
Hey, go for it, Dylan.
Just got to clear to close on
Yes.
yeah, it's closing
That's
Monday.
a touchdown right there.
Yeah, and that was
And
a
hey,
open house success story. So someone in your
Awesome.
office is hosting an open house. Definitely go to that open house. Ask them to help out as much as you can.
All right. Hey, Shelley, here it says, if you can text it to him too, or maybe email, I guess would be better. mshkambi@gmail. mshkambi@gmail.com.
Got it. I'll send it right now.
All right. Okay. Thank you for that. All right. And Luigi is asking for the same thing with the meeting ID.
I'll add him to it.
Coming shortly. All right. And Dylan, you know what's cool about that is just yesterday's lunch and learn with the aspect of open houses, because how many of us are actually every day looking forward to talking to a whole lot of people, known or unknown? Any of us?
No.
Typically not. So, and this was one of the neat things that David Knox threw out to us yesterday. I put it in different terms than what he did, but as I put it, where else can we sit on our duff and people will come to us who are thinking about buying and selling, right? If we do open houses, people will come to us who are thinking about buying and selling. And then people will go, well, yeah, but not everybody. Well, I'm not looking for everybody. I'm looking for one or two. I need to build upon what I have going on. So that would be huge when we could make that happen. So open houses are a great way to be able to do it. And Dylan, that's a great success story. How long has it been that you've had your license now, by the way?
Since mid-March.
Mid-March. And we're now first part of June. When did you do the open house?
I believe it was going on 3 weeks ago.
And it's closing already.
Yes.
Was this a buyer or your seller?
It was my mentor's open house and I ran it with her, and a buyer came in, and it was probably the 1% of buyers came in, showed me his pre-approval and made an offer on site. So
Hey, nothing wrong with getting lucky, right?
yeah. Yeah.
And guys, why do we do open houses? What's the answer?
Get buyers, get leads, sell the house.
Isn't
Lead,
it?
yeah.
Okay, so again, let's
Great
do group
contacts.
discussion. So yeah, it's about getting the leads. Dylan got lucky, but luck is when hard work and preparation met the opportunity. I brought up the aspect of, matter of fact, I'm going to throw this out because this was the David Knox thing that I learned years ago. I want you to think about the last time you purchased something that involved a salesperson. Okay, was it a car? It could have been a pair of shoes, but think about that situation and that salesperson, and I'm going to ask a question of you. Why did you buy that item from that salesperson?
Aye.
The answer is?
They were
Knew
there.
him, I trusted him and I liked him.
And they were there. Right?
Right.
They happened to be there when we as the purchaser showed up. So one of the biggest things that we're talking about is we always need to be there. Another way that you'll always hear me say it is go talk to people. Be there when the opportunity exists. So Dylan happened to hold an open house for his mentor's listing. And if you will, Dylan got lucky. The person walks in the door and says, I want to buy the house. And what we always say is get out of the way and let them do it. Right?
Yep.
So great one. I love, and this is kind of what we get when we get some simple stories, just like setting up. Join over here, Jack, and then you can kind of see the screen too. Say, there's Jack. We get to share these success stories and work with each other in knowing that, hey, that actually does work. It's the evidence that we're looking for, that if you'll simply do what you're learning, do that in action, you're there and you'll get lucky. But another thing that's really best is be good once you're there. You can do a lot more business in less time when you're good at it. But right now, gang, most of us are new. The key is let's just be there, okay? Shelly, go ahead. Share what you had.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so I got my license last year, April 1st. And I got a listing at the end of August. I held an open house 3 weekends in a row. It was a lake house. It was a friend of mine. And from those 3 open houses, I literally sold and bought. So I had someone come in, picked up buyers. They wanted to sell their house. They made offers on other houses and sold $2 million in 2 weeks in October, closed $2 million in 2 weeks from all those 3 open houses off the same house.
Yes.
So it does work.
And Shelly, yours is a great story overall. I think most of you know Shelly. Shelly is our, I don't know, what's your official title?
Senior corporate recruiter.
Jack of all
Okay.
trades.
And she's just awesome. She was also, if we had a Rookie of the Year award, she'd have won that. How long have you been selling real estate?
Since last April 1st. And last year, between April 1st and December, I sold just under $4 million in real estate.
Wow. Awesome.
And how many deals was that?
12.
So guys, it's wonderful Shelly's on here because by the way, she did 12 deals since April 1st, did that volume, and she did that while being a full-time recruiter also.
Hey,
And if you
Darwin,
ask her, she was telling me that she didn't get the greatest of training, but that's just her own standards too. So, and I wasn't there for her at first. Go
You
ahead,
are
Karina.
now.
I just want to attest to that. Shelley, I know a lot of people that are in close contact with Shelley. And the one thing everyone says about her, no matter where you go with Shelley, no matter who you're with, everyone knows what she does. Whether it's handing out a card, talking about real estate. And I feel like as mentors to our mentees, everybody needs to make sure everybody knows what you do for a living. And it can be you can slide that into any conversation. It's not, hey, I'm Karina Ball, I'm a real estate agent. That's
Oh,
not what
yeah.
that is, you know?
Here, Karina, Jack's gonna add to this.
Don't be an undercover agent. Wear your name tag everywhere.
So we've got career apparel that's available for you. If you go to your kid's ball game, wear a ball cap that has Coldwell Banker on it, Coldwell Banker Professionals or the North Star logo. Let people know what it is that you do. Wear a name badge. I bet if I looked around at most of us, I'm guilty. Jack's guilty. Right now, I have nothing on that would identify me as a real estate agent. And look, I can go back to when I first started. I had career apparel on. I went to McDonald's. I'm standing in the longest line and somebody turns around and goes, "Oh, you sell real estate. I was going to call you guys today." And I didn't have to say anything, which isn't that the easiest way that we'd like to get it anyway. So I think Shelley's probably the best example of go talk to a lot of people.
I do. I try to work it into every conversation. Even I bought a couch. Oh, can you hear
That's
me?
what we need to do. Success story, guys. What's out
Oh,
there?
sorry.
Yep, you're in. You just put yourself back on
Oh,
mute.
me.
though. There
Okay.
you're good.
So I try to work it into I always work it into every conversation somehow. And now my husband does it. So my husband and I will be talking to somebody and he'll say, you know, Shelley sells real estate, because he knows the money that comes with it. Right. And if he promotes me and I get a listing, or he knows what's going to come from it. So he is now on board promoting me as well. I'll just tell you this real quick. It was kind of cool. I went in to buy a couch from Lazy Boy Furniture, and the guy and I had a great connection. And of course, right at the end, when he was closing his deal, I turned around and gave him my business card and told him if he ever needed anyone. He actually was just getting his pre-approval through a bank and was just starting to look for a real estate agent. So I did a deal with him. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That more good news on your side?
No, that was
That was slam. Yeah, Jack just did this. So guys, it really is. You just got to remember that you sell real estate. And if you see a human being, you talk real estate. So great one. So who else has got a success story? Any positive news that's happened over the last 2 weeks? Somebody else has got to have something. Go ahead, Andre.
I had a buyer who backed out of a deal recently, and we were looking earlier this week. They found something they liked. We got in touch with the financing and worked it out so that we could afford the closing costs. Put in an offer last night, and within 15 minutes, the offer was accepted.
Good.
Touchdown. Awesome. And I was about to say, no, Andre, we're looking for the positive stories. Hey, when deals fall apart, that doesn't mean they're falling apart forever, right? Just recover and make it work. Fix the situation and we'll move forward. Who else has got anything that would be very beneficial?
Hey, Darwin.
Yes, go through it, Michael.
I don't have my camera on because I'm driving, but last Sunday I held the house open. And while I was putting the signs, actually the last two signs, because I had put two of them, a woman had noticed me in the neighborhood and she stopped me. And she said, well, I'm looking to sell my house. Are you a real estate agent? I said, yes, I am. And I'm here to sell your house. And I just got so lost. I forgot I had so many papers printed. And then she told me, which house are you selling? And I completely blinded out and I forgot the address and everything. And I told her, well, let me go
Wow.
set it up first and I'll come back to you. And once I was at the house, I went back to her without opening the house and preparing. And I went and told her, well, I'm sorry, I forgot I had everything set up and everything printed. So here you go. You can have this document and come visit me because I'm holding it open from 2 to 5. And she actually came around
Awesome.
3 o'clock and she compared every detail of the house I was holding open to her own house. And she said, well, you won't have a hard time selling mine because I'm a perfectionist and my house is perfect. And
Awesome.
I said, well, when are we getting together so I can present you what I do to sell your house? And she said, well, for now, I'm looking to find work in California, she said. So I'm still in touch with her, but she's looking to find a job in California before starting to market her home. And I told her, I respect your time and decisions, and I wish you luck in finding the work. If you need any help with that, I can maybe do something. But meanwhile, if you ever consider someone else to do anything in real estate for you, I would like to come to your mind first and call me before you call anyone else.
Awesome. Excellent. Excellent job. Any other service come to mind that you guys, when you heard Michael's story, that he could have offered a service that
The
would
relocation.
potentially make money?
The relocation program.
Yeah, I actually offered that, and I said we do
There you
have
go, the relocation, guys.
Yes.
So that's an additional service that we could offer.
Yes, I told her.
You got that? Have you got that appointment to send it?
No, not yet. But she said I'm looking on my own for the work because she wants to find a job first. And about the home, she said I'm just gonna rent because I used to live in I think she
Oh,
said Sacramento
okay.
or San Clemente, I don't know. But she
Good.
said she used to live in California before, so she knows the place and everything. She just needs to find a work.
So here's another great example of be there, which is the work hard. Be there, hard work, preparation, meeting the opportunity.
And
Okay,
can I-
so that's
can I add
a great
something?
example of that.
Can I add something more to it?
Yes, sir.
So this was my second time holding that house open in 3 weeks. So just adding to the hard work, maybe you don't get something on the first open house, but you probably will get something on the second one.
It might be my computer. It seems like, yeah, internet connection. I just got that notice. So, yeah, well, the only thing I got, I'll keep. If you take volume, that's going to mess with the mic. Well, let's hope it still
It's me, Darwin.
hears,
'Cause
guys.
I'm
I
driving.
need somebody to tell me, here. Am I stuck?
You're stuck.
He'll be back in just a minute.
Okay, should be there. Funny
Yep.
part, we're on the same network. If you're wondering, I'm in Lapeer today, so. All right, so let's do this. Let's get I need help with, or even I ran into this, I got stumped. Where's the struggle that we can share with everyone?
I am relearning the scripts because I'm having trouble with open-ended questions versus yes/no questions. So I've gone back to the scripts, and I am very happy to role play with anybody who desires to role play.
So gang, this is huge because let's take the proverbial for sale by owner. How many of you look forward to calling it for sale by owner? Okay, all right, everything's normal.
Purely for
I did-
entertainment purposes.
Purely. I like that, Dylan. As a matter of fact, how many of you looked at the script and said, I couldn't do that, that's not me? Anybody that's guilty of that? Okay. Even Jack here is like, yeah, no, I don't. See, what we need to do is we need to know the script so well, but not just the words, but what am I asking? Because most of our scripts are asking questions. I need to know and understand what I'm actually asking, because once I understand that and where that's going, I know what to do with it. All right. So that wouldn't matter if it's a for sale by owner, if that's an expired, if I'm calling upon my first, my sphere of influence, or even to the aspect of, you know, we talk about the term of circle prospecting. You may have heard it from me, the 5-5-10 or a 10-10-20, where it's take a house, you go 5 on either side, 10 on either side, the 20 across the street, those in a circle around that house, and we go knock on the door. Why don't we do that? Well, one of the primary reasons is because we're not comfortable with it. So we hold off simply because I'm not comfortable. As a matter of fact, if I said to you today, you must, without an option, you either do this or you're fired. Unless if you're ready to get out of real estate, you'd go do it. But what's the first thing that comes into mind? I don't know what to say. How many of us fall into that? So why don't we practice what we need to do? I see Tegan here, who's a volleyball player. You can keep going. But it just brought up an absolute thing. Tegan played volleyball like 7 days a week. And it was like half of her life. So she was either in school, playing volleyball, or sleeping. Okay. What we're doing is practice. Even today's players practice. Professional basketball players practice what they do. Do you ever think about a doctor is in practice? Which is kind of scary when you think about that. They're practicing on you. But guys, we need to practice our skills. We need to build our knowledge. But if we don't know what to say, and it's probably the primary thing that holds us back, because it's the fear. What if they say something and I don't have a response, or I don't want to look bad? We need to practice the scripts. Andre, you and I talked earlier this week. What assignment did we give to you to help you learn the scripts?
Write them out.
Write the scripts out. Now, guys, I could have you go to Alex or Dawn, our two coaches, have you pay them $600 a month. And one of the first things that they're going to have you do is write out the scripts. Now, you can pay them $600 because now you got skin in the game and make you do it, or you could just do it. So how serious are you about making the income that you've now determined what it is that you want, what you need? How serious are you about making that? Because if this is what's preventing you from making contacts, we need to learn the scripts. You should be able to go knock on a door and know exactly what you're going to say. And as a reminder, let's write this out. What's the process for any contact. Simply, it's an introduction. Hi, my name is, I'm with, or I'm a local realtor. The reason I stopped by today is, are you a prospect? Who do you know that's a prospect? Close. Now, you're either going to close the conversation or you're going to close for the appointment because you identified a lead. It's those 5 simple and easy steps. It could be as simple as I've done this, other than I haven't put a blindfold on, but it's like, you go drive me to a neighborhood. I've gone out with 3 people. I've taken 11 people out. Yeah, picture that one. But here was my introduction. Hi, when's the last time you had 12 people or 12 real estate agents knocking on your door? And what do? Laugh and go, never. By the way, they're probably a little bit more adverse to answering the door when they see that number versus 3 or 4. 2 aren't good, by the way. We all know the reason for that. But that was a simple introduction. When's the last time you had 12 people knocking on your door? Well, listen, I'm not out here selling anything, but rather what we know is there's a home coming on the market. I'm trying to find it. There's my reason for stopping. Is it you? Is that not my identification as to whether or not they're a prospect? So then on top of it, they're going to say no, and we would turn and look back to them and say, which one of your neighbors is it? Otherwise, there's my identification of who do you know. And then you say, I appreciate you taking the time to think about it. Now let me ask you this. How long have you lived in the neighborhood? Where'd you move from? How'd you happen to pick this area? Let's say you were to move. Where else are you going to? Where would you go next? Now, if that doesn't sound familiar, you need to read the scripts. You need to learn the scripts because those additional questions will help you find out truly whether or not they're a lead or not. And as you can see how that progressed to the point to maybe they have thought about it, okay? So that's a simple one. Is there any script that maybe you've got questions about that, boy, I'd like to do this, but I'm not comfortable with it? Oh, so we're all making calls. We're all talking to people.
I have a script that I'm not comfortable with.
I think for me, when it comes to the scripts, I tried to call a couple of for sale by owners, and I went to the boot camp, but I just can't get myself to say like Darwin, what you and Alex say for your what you say to those FSBOs. That's my struggle pretty much.
You ever been to that Uptown Grill in West Bloomfield?
It looks like he's frozen, so I guess I won't get a response from him, but
It's scary to call FSBOs, but you do it and you just have to kind of go along and play off of them and see what they say. I've even asked one if I can run an open house for them if they've thought about opening their house up and they said no. And then I have them sign a contract that if a buyer does come in, that I'm going to get paid on the buyer side. So, and that helps you get, and then, or you ask what they're going to do with all of the people that come through. If they thought about that, can I get those contacts?
Gotcha.
Great. So I drop out and you'll ask Shelley questions.
I just answered for you.
Thank you for jumping in, Shelley. So I think I left off, what script might there be that you would like to have some clarification on? Because what we know is we need to talk to our sphere of influence. It is the rock upon which you should be building your business. If you haven't talked to all of them about real estate, we need to talk to them. Then there's expireds, there's FSBOs, and then there's all the other reasons why we could and should be talking to all these other human beings. So what would you have? Anybody take, what do you got questions on?
Can I say something about your sphere? Because I learned the hard way. Is I would say, make sure you reach out to them. Don't just think that if you're posting stuff on your social media, that they're going to see it, because sometimes they do. But then when you see a friend of yours that you're good friends with, or not even good friends with, but just someone you know through something, and they just bought a house or just put their house up with somebody else, that's disappointing, because you could have reached out and had a conversation with them. So do it now, even if it's through Facebook Messenger. Let them know that you're selling real estate, you have buyers in their area, or we're low on inventory. That has brought some business to me by doing that. So don't miss out on that. Don't just think it's going to come to you.
I'm telling you, if you haven't got a signed contract within your first 30 days, every time I would place $1,000 on it, that you have not directly talked with your sphere of influence about real estate and asked, are you going to move? Who do you know that's going to move? Now, occasionally I would be wrong, but rarely. And I would make a lot of money if everybody would take me up on that. Okay. So how serious are you about your business? How many more times? Because we could do a raise of hands about, gee, I wish I'd have known, we just. And that's, Shelley, that's always how the story went, wasn't it? I wish we'd have known, we just. So don't run into that. But here, you're going to run into it, because you can't think of everybody that you know that you have a relationship, which is your sphere of influence. So again, let's talk. I know where we're at, because I continue to see numbers, not everybody's yet, but I'm seeing the numbers, and we're going to work on a tool that will help us do that here in the next week or two. Who's struggling making the calls? Okay.
I am.
All right, thank you, Becky, Kenyanan, got a couple of honest people. So open up to me, guys. Andre, yeah, you've been doing well, but it's a struggle, isn't it?
I find one of the biggest problems is I hate calling. I prefer face-to-face, and sometimes, well, until recently I was having trouble getting numbers, but I found a way. RPR is marvelous for phone numbers and addresses.
Awesome. As a matter of fact, by the way, am I okay if you go out and talk to people by knocking on doors instead of phone calls?
Yes.
Yeah, go guys, go do it however it takes. It's just go talk to people. Don't allow phone numbers or your inability to get them keep you from talking to a whole lot of people. It's an excuse. It's a reasonable excuse, but that's all it is. It's a reasonable excuse that allows you to stop talking to people or stay away from talking to people, which, oh, by the way, happens to affect your income and your longevity in this business. Go talk to people. So I think, Andre, I think it's a great point. There's a lot of people who have call reluctance, but don't have any problem in going and getting face-to-face with people. Then where can we go to get face-to-face with people? There are opportunities out there if you talk to enough people to create or build or join networking groups. They're out there. Build that. That's them.com. Free information. Yeah, so HomeSnap will do the same thing. As a matter of fact, if anybody joined the Spark program, it's Forewarn. Forewarn.com will give you loads of information. So there's lots of places for us to get phone numbers. We've just got to go look for them, but most of the time we just go, oh, there's no easy place. And we use that as an excuse. I don't have anybody to call. And guys, they're just excuses. And I know, Rick, I saw you nodding your head. It was like, yep, that's it. And it's just an excuse. No, it's just an excuse. So,
Darwin, can I add something in there real quick too?
Yeah, please, Crystal.
When you're researching, finding numbers, whatever, looking at FSBOs, one of the biggest things is to not look too much into it. Get the name, get the phone number, make the call. Because if you keep looking, you're going to find a reason. Oh, I shouldn't call that person because, or whatever, right? So don't look. Just get the phone number, get the name, move on, make the call. Because that's one thing when I first started. I looked too much research before just making the call.
So let me call on a couple of people. Jacob, you're a dead center at the top of my screen. How are you doing with making contacts?
At first it was a struggle. Like she just mentioned, you get this mental block and you convince yourself, okay, I'm not gonna go do this. But Jack Smith's my mentor, and we talked about going and knocking doors. And my biggest reason for not going out there is, why am I going out there to talk to these people? So I created a flyer, and I put a market report on the back of it, and then introduction. So I'm going to introduce myself. Then I'm gonna let them know I'm a real estate agent, and then I'm gonna show them how the market's doing.
Excellent. Okay, so I want Jacob also for you to remember, and kudos, Jack Smith, great mentoring right there. What we need is to remember that simple process: an introduction, reason I'm calling, are you a prospect, who do you know that's a prospect, and close it. Okay, because it's the whole reason we're doing it. We're looking for leads. But Jacob, and this is, guys, why you gotta participate. The best way for this call to be the most productive for you is by your participation. Because of that, I can tell you another key reason why people don't go out there, and Jacob, you just brought it up. I don't feel I've got a good reason. I don't know why I'm gonna go knock on their door, right? And I'll give you one of my salespeople, I share this a lot. His name was Andy Smith. And Andy did open houses all the time. And he'd go out and knock on all the doors, inviting people to the open house. He'd do the 1 hour for the neighbors only open house. Okay? And then he'd do the open house, and the open house was good, and he'd do all the stuff, but he was finding business because he was going out and knocking on the doors. You know what he realized? The reason he was doing open houses is it gave him a reason to go knock on doors and talk to people. What did he do? He stopped doing open houses and just started knocking on doors, because he realized he didn't need the open house. It was merely the reason that gave him the comfort in going out to talk to people. Because once he said, hi, my name's Andy, I'm doing an open house, and I'm going to have an exclusive time period for the neighbors. I wanted to invite you down. He could then just have a conversation because people would talk to him. So having the reason to go out there and talk to somebody will give you the comfort level, because now you're going to fill in the blanks. Hi, my name's Jacob. I'm with Coldwell Banker. Reason I'm stopping by today is I just got some market information for you. And of course, what's the next question? Anybody? Have you had any thought of selling?
Selling.
Right? And it's a key word, because I want you to remember that. Have you had any thought? It's key, because a lot of people thought about it. But listen for the yes in that, because they'll go, no. Did they think about it? They might have thought about it right at that minute, and you've got to identify that that was a yes. Now you can go forward with, I sensed a little hesitation. Let me ask you, did you think about it a little bit? Well, yeah. Well, what's going on? You could say, I sense a little hesitation in that. Let me ask you, what's had you thinking about it? People will spill it, or they're going to say, no, No, we're not. There's just no way. Great. I can appreciate that. How long you lived here? Where'd you move from? How'd you happen to pick this area? Let's say you were to make a move, where would it be? When do you think you'd do that? It's just taking what you already found and taking those stock questions that are right there in the scripts and following up with that. So having the reason is one of the primary things that will hold you back from going out, knocking on doors or picking up the phone because you don't feel good about it. All right. Matter of fact, I take that a little bit longer, but I know, Rick, you got something that might help too.
Right. Everyone's been in this position. Some of you are right now. Some of you will be later today or tomorrow morning. I have been, and it happens all the time. You got all the information. I got the phone number. I got the email address. I got the information. I can know when they bought it, how much they refinanced it. You got all the information. But why aren't you calling? So really, I've been doing this for 40 some years and I still have problems calling. And what it is I use the NASA. Who knows what NASA is, right? United States Air. We're going up. We're going to try to beat Russia to the moon. So they do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do that to yourself and pick up that phone. That's it. Making a call is just as hard as putting on your first tennis shoe before your exercise, which no one wants to do because that became a clothes hanger after you bought it. Right?
Rick, yeah, you nailed it because it's literally count down and push the button. And oh, by the way, once you get done with the first call, don't put the phone down. Don't put the phone down. Dial the next number. That first one was the very first and most difficult, and they will get easier. Every day, the first call is the most difficult. All right. There's good stuff there. Was there any other hands that came up through any of that? Yes, Andre.
I found that it's a whole lot easier to talk to people when you truly understand your value. The speed board has us go through different exercises, and one of them is, what is my value? And I did the exercises. I've got a sheet that I wrote up of why I deserve my commission and what is my qualities that you should work with me over the next very qualified good agent. And these things really help me stand forward and not be iffy about talking to people. I just prefer to do it face to face.
All right, let me shift gears a little bit here. And Jason, I'm going to call you out because it's my understanding, Jacob, Jacob, yeah. Jason, not you, Jacob, that you did some role playing in room, did you? And you kind of knocked it out the park.
It was all right.
What were you playing on?
We were actually just going through the entire script list. I'd be the seller, and then he'd be the agent, and then I'd be the agent, he'd be the seller.
Okay. Anyone in particular that you felt you did really well?
I think FSBO script. Just simply because I've gone through that so many times, calling people. You get used to it after a while.
I like it. I like it. So let me ask you this. Would you be willing to role play it right now? Yes. Just say yes, Jacob. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah, feel the fear. Sure.
All right. So who can play a reasonable FSBO? Somebody that's made some calls to FSBOs before. I'm going to look to one of our mentees, Rick. I want to pull them out. Anybody made some calls to FSBOs? Anyone?
I'll go ahead and do it with them.
All right.
I'll be the
perfect.
FISBO.
All right. So let's be, yeah, be reasonable, but don't, bend over. Let's see how he does.
Okay.
Jacob, it's yours, buddy. We start this way. Ring, ring. And
Ring,
Dylan
ring.
says,
Hello.
Hey, I'm calling about the property on 682 West Street. Am I speaking to the owner?
Yeah, you a realtor?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right. What's up?
So I'm Jacob Berlin. I'm with Coldwell Banker Professionals. I'm just surveying all for sale by owners in the area, and I was wondering if you had a couple minutes to answer a few questions.
Yeah, sure. I got a couple minutes. What's up?
Awesome. I appreciate your time. So just a few questions to get started. How'd you get the sales price for your home?
Well, I bought and sold houses before on my own, and a couple houses in the neighborhood have been selling, and that's basically where I got the price.
Good. So that's usually how we go about getting the price too. We run comps on familiar houses, ones that are pending, sold, or that are actually active. One thing we can do is free of charge or anything. We offer a comparative market analysis just to get you a better idea. I'm so
Okay,
nervous
yeah,
right now.
my cousin's sister is a realtor, and she said something about that too. So yeah, what exactly do you offer?
So we do offer the CMA. It's full service if you do decide to list or.
hey, dude, you're all right. Listen, you got a bunch of people who know what you're supposed to say. So keep going. Keep going. You're doing all right.
What made you decide to list your house by yourself rather than list with an agent?
Well, I just want to save the most amount of money possible. I don't want to pay that commission. There's too much money to be made in this market right now.
That's understandable. Nobody really wants to leave money on the table. But what if I was able to tell you that we could possibly make it so you can still make the same amount of money while still paying an agent's commission?
Well, how would you be able to do that?
Oh, well, we could potentially raise the price. Like you said, the market's really hot right now, especially for sellers. You could easily get more than what it's listed for.
Now, how do you think that would work? Don't you think raising the price that much would possibly scare people away?
It could. I mean, we might have to negotiate. That's a given. But I think with my experience in selling homes, I could greatly benefit you.
Okay. Is there any wiggle room on that commission percentage? Because that's that's a big factor. I don't want to cough up 6% commission.
Unfortunately, I can't cut my commission. It's company policy. We have to do what we have to do. But like I said, give it a chance, and I'm sure I can help you out.
Okay. Well, like I said, my cousin's sister is a realtor, so I'll keep your name in mind, and if a couple weeks time, if I can't get it sold for the price I want, maybe I'll give you a call. But I am, pretty close with her, so I wouldn't count on anything.
All right. Well, I do appreciate your time. Understand everybody knows a realtor in the area. If there's anybody that's looking to sell or buy a home, I definitely appreciate it if you could give them my number, and I can also send you a business card.
Okay, great. I appreciate it.
All right.
Hey, everybody do this. Dude, great job. Hey, you're the first one who stepped up to the plate and said, yeah, I can do this. Hit me with it. Bring it on. And by the way, do you guys think that Dylan was fairly realistic with his input? And
Yeah.
Jacob, you can acknowledge that's pretty realistic, isn't it? So one, great job. There was a lot of questions. Let me ask you, and this is kind of the way we do any coaching. One, what did you feel you did well?
I feel that I kind of got to the point. I let them know what I was there for, and I offered my services.
Absolutely. Okay. So that's always a key. What do you feel you could have done better?
I kind of didn't have a direction where I was specifically going. I was here and then I was there.
Okay, and in the end, what were you really wanting? By the end of that phone call, what did we really want to have established?
Whether he was a prospect or not.
And once you identified he's a prospect, what do we want? Anybody can jump in at this point.
Appointment.
The appointment. We want.
Sign the
things-
listing agreement.
Say that again. So
Exclusive right to
what are-
sell.
Sign a
Oh. Yes, yeah. Even the follow-up would be good. So you actually said, can I do this? So that was a key part. Let me throw something out. We have to remember that what we're looking for is a job interview. We have to know with for sale by owners that the first time we call them, not likely you're going to get a bona fide listing appointment or a bona fide interview, right? So the follow-up is going to be a key. A couple of things that Jacob, again, I appreciate you doing this, and let's see what we can all learn from this. And by the way, don't not come on to future calls because I'm going to ask you to do role plays. Renee's going, how many people will not show up next time now? This, guys, is the benefit of doing this because we're all in the same boat and we're all going to learn. So believe me, nobody's judging anything, but we're learning from. So we want the job interview. We need to know that in the end, that's what we want. Jacob, a quick question. Did you have a script in front of you?
No.
Okay. So I want to point that out because I think if you'd have had that in front of you, you'd have had some more questions you could have went to. One of the things to remember, how many of you have heard of the response pattern? Okay, a number of you have, others, I want you to write this down. So if you haven't been with me much, response pattern, it is this. Acknowledge, repeat, ask another question. So now it doesn't matter what they say. They could go, you know what? Real estate agents are a bunch of ignorant, greedy, I hate them. And you'd say, so you feel that real estate agents are ignorant and greedy, you don't like them at all. Obviously, as you mentioned, you hate them. I'm just curious, when you sell the home, where are you going next? Acknowledge it, repeat it, ask another question. So let me throw this out because this was a great opportunity. Right here, Dylan said, Jacob, how are you going to net me more money? That's a great question. How am I going to net you more money is the reason that we need to get together. He just opened the door to say, come on over. So the key to this, and again, this is not just for sale by owners. This will apply to anything. It doesn't matter who it is. We want a job interview. Over the phone, it's not time to handle the concern that they gave you. All we need to do is to handle it well enough that we can then do the appointment, which will address the concern. So if somebody says to you, well, how are you going to net me more money than I could net myself? You know what? That's a great question. And the way that I can show you how is by getting together. Would you be available on Monday or Tuesday? See, at that point, we've just got to ask.
Is that
Matter
the
of
same
fact,
with
does
the
any-
commission? Like
Same
with the commission, when he asked about the commission, you wouldn't really answer that, just kind of say, that's a great question. When we get together, we can talk about that.
You know what? That's a great question. As a matter of fact, I have 3 different levels of services that will provide a different commission rate, and it's up to you as to which one you choose. Now, I'd be happy to discuss that in full with you. When could we get together? Is Monday or Tuesday better? Now, obviously, you've got to have a menu of services that offers 3 different levels. By the way, I'd be okay if you only had 2, one that was 6 and one that was 7. You're going, wait a minute, people don't pay more than that. Well, they will, but we never ask. They will, but we never give them a reason to say or want to pay more, because everybody thinks that realtors do the same thing. As a matter of fact, it kind of brings up another great question. What do you do to sell homes? Have you thought about it? Do you have a plan that says, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here's what I do to sell homes. This is what makes me different from everybody else. If you don't have that, guys, you need to get with your mentor and get that in place. You need to know what makes you worth 6%. And by the way, it's not 3%, it's 6% in their eyes. Matter of fact, think of the FSBO, because this is a key part. We need to create value. What's your value? Do you know what it is? Are you worth 6%, even though you're only getting 3? Well, even though you're only getting a portion of that 3, we have to think like they do. It's 6%. That's what you cost. Okay. What we need to do is take it from being a cost, it needs to become an investment. Because people don't mind investing money as long as they get a return on the money. So that's why I want you to be able to think about that. But this is all the stuff that may be a part of holding you back from setting appointments, making calls. But remember, you've got mentors. And you've got a number of them on here. So you don't need to know anything. All you've got to do is be able to set appointments. Let the mentor, if you literally know nothing, let the mentor take care of everything. That's what they're there for, is to show you how to do what you've learned. And then they'll sit back and they'll watch you and be able to improve. Dylan, just like we just did. We had you do it. I get to sit back and watch, and now we can debrief and improve upon what you had with the call. What did we learn very quickly? Make or have that script in front of you. Now, here's the other part that I want you to catch. I'm going to scribble on the side. If you've been to listing boot camp or to Top Gun, you should know this. But closing is a process. How do I take a FSBO who sees no value in a real estate agent, right? Matter of fact, a real estate agent is a cost. It's going to cost me 6%. Why does everybody else decide that they need to have a realtor? Because there is value. Until they see value, they won't list. Now, we're talking not just about FSBOs. This is everybody, but FSBOs are the ones who show this the most. If there's no value, they won't list. How do I show value? Well, this is closing. This is selling. This anything. This is what you do. If you're married, ever have been, got a significant other, guess what? You sold. You sold, and you probably did something like this. We started out by asking a whole lot of questions. And within that is the acknowledgement and repeating. You can even go back to that person you're infatuated with and go, oh, that's so neat. How did you? And you go, oh, wow. What about? That was the type of communication you had with this significant other person. That's what you were doing. It was basic communication. Questions, acknowledge, repeat, ask another question. What are we looking for? We're looking for the problems. What are the issues? What What are they running into that is a need, a concern? Often it's unanswered questions. Often it's they don't have enough information, and the information they have had them making a decision based upon a lack of information. Find a problem. Now offer a solution or a service directly related to the problem you found. Jacob, you did that when he said, well, how are you going to net me more money?
Right.
You asked a question, you found a problem. You know, the neat part with the FSBO is he found the problem. He didn't know he has it. Matter of fact, he may not even believe he still has it until you have the solution and the services that will show him that you'll actually get him more money. And by the way, if you knew by listing your home with me, you'd actually net more money, what would you do? You could even go, by the way, if you knew by investing in me and allowing me to take care of everything, that you'd actually net more money than you net yourself. Wouldn't it make sense to list your home with me? Yeah, but how are you going to do that? It's a great question. That's the reason we need to get together so I can show you how. Want to do that on Monday or Tuesday? That's what we did, because number 4 then is close. Okay? Any questions? Because I'm actually showing we're now about 11:01 or 2. And that's because we had 2 minutes worth of brownouts from the internet. I'm going to blame it on that anyway. Any questions before we call it good?
I just had one thing to add, if I can. What's helped me
Yeah, go ahead.
is, especially with FSBOs and with circle prospecting, yeah, we have a script for it, but myself, I created a script for objections, especially the commission percentage for FSBOs. So that way I'm not sitting there like trying to think of something to say as soon as that, because that's like the
Excellent.
main thing I run into is the commission percentage. And it's always, yeah, they'll cooperate with buyers agents paying that 3% commission. They just want to save that other 3%. So I created my own script to counter that 3% problem and then try to close on that. So I'm not sitting there trying to think of something to say.
Well, I'll tell you what, now you got me hanging and I don't want to wait 2 weeks. Share with me. Yeah, right. There's a couple of heads nodding with me here. What did you put together on that one?
You want me to read the script?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the script is, so my question is, so all you're trying to do is save that 3% commission. I totally understand that. But what if I can run you through a listing and marketing plan that has proven to be successful with our clients netting the highest amount possible for their home? Sound good? This way I can potentially list your home higher than what you have it listed for now, get multiple offers because that's the market we're competing in, use them to bid against each other and possibly drive that price higher, which in turn would benefit you the most. Worst case scenario, you get to walk away with your bottom dollar amount with no stress of dealing with non-approved buyers, making time for appointments, open houses, and hundreds of phone calls. I will handle all that for you. Now that 3% commission is irrelevant. How does that sound? So what I was trying to do with that is not tell them all the negative things that listing by yourself is, you know what I'm saying? All the negative things that you're going to run into. I didn't want to just throw all that on there, but kind of sneak it in there. Like, this is the burden that you're dealing with listing without a realtor. I'm also trying to provide what I can provide.
Right. Say that again, Karina.
Amazing. That was awesome.
Thank you.
It's great. And guys, I think, again, this is the benefit of us getting together every other week, that we're able to share and see. So here's Dylan. And Dylan, remind everybody how long you've had your license?
Since March.
Okay.
So a couple months.
So since March, and one of the things that he's done, he's talked to enough FSBOs that he went, wait a minute, this keeps coming up. I should have something to say to that. Right? Write it out and repeat it. Matter of fact, you can record it every day, record it right into your cell phone, and then jump in your car, plug into your phone, and let that play on the way to the office, because that's where we're working out of every day, is out of the office, right?
Yep. Darwin, Dylan's hungry. That's why he did that.
That's
He's got
it.
bills to
Hey,
pay. He's got quotas to meet. He's hungry. So he figured out the problem and he created a solution. I love that.
He's got the
Thank you.
solution. Same thing, you're selling yourself. Hey, here's my problem. Here's how I can fix it. Boom. Great job. So guys, take those out. Let's see. Yes, we still have another meeting in 2 weeks. So every other Thursday at 10 a.m. Spread the word to your fellow mentees, guys. The more that we can get to this, the more ideas, the more sharing, and you guys can learn from each other. And all we'll do is me as we'll call it your coach, and what Karina and Rick and Luigi and everybody else, we're just going to be able to give you additional information that will be focused upon what your current needs are to take you where you guys want to know, or where you want to go. And hopefully you know where that is, meaning make sure you have those dreams, have that financial goal, and as a minimum have that broken down to how many appointments per week do I need to go on. Let me share one last thought to let you know where you may need to look to go in regards to your contacts. You guys are probably all full-time. That means you should be talking to people, prospecting, business development, 4 hours a day. Think about this. If you have no appointments, what else is there for you to do? You can only learn so much. And that probably, for most of you, about an hour a day. The rest, you're into production, you're into income producing activities, and most of that is going to be simply talking to people. You're the boss of You Incorporated. Think about it. What else is there to do? If I'm supposed to go on 3 appointments and I haven't set any, I got to talk to more people. Once I talk to a lot of people, then you can get with your mentor, get with your manager, call me. We'll find out what's not getting the appointments, but all of it starts with, are we talking to enough people? Okay. So hope you guys got lots out of this today. If there is anything, feel free to give me a call. We'll set up time where we can talk and help move you forward. Remember, you got great mentors, you got great managers. Use them to move you forward. Go be productive. Talk to lots of people. See you guys.
I've got trauma.